All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into an absolute legend. A console that was, brilliant and completely broken, often at the exact same time. Yep, we're talking about the one, the only, the Xbox 360. Let's get into the story of this beautiful disaster. So here's the big question, right? How on earth did a console that was, let's be honest, famous for breaking, end up changing gaming forever? This thing was adored by millions, but it also had this catastrophic flaw, a flaw that cost Microsoft more than $1 billion to fix. So how did it do it? How did this thing not just survive, but actually go on to define a whole era of video games? Okay, part one, the rise. And really, it was a surprise attack. See, to really get the 360's impact, you gotta rewind a bit. Think back to the original Xbox. It was kind of niche, right? A big, bulky box that, while cool, barely made a dent in the PlayStation 2's dominance. So when Microsoft said they were making another one, I don't think anyone, literally no one, expected them to come out swinging this hard. So their first move, it was an absolute stroke of genius. They launched the Xbox 360 a full year, let that sink in, a full year before the PlayStation 3 even hit the shelves. Now, in the world of tech, a month is a long time. A year, that's basically an eternity. It gave them this huge, wide-open runway to grab players, build a community, and just completely set up shop before the competition even showed up. And they used that head start to land some serious punches. They started snatching up these massive franchises that, for years, were basically PlayStation exclusive. You just knew you were playing Final Fantasy or Grand Theft Auto on a PlayStation. Suddenly, bam! Seeing those logos at an Xbox conference? For gamers at the time, that was absolutely mind-blowing. It completely changed the game. So what was the secret sauce under the hood? It all comes down to this number, 512 megabytes. Now, that might not sound like a lot today, but back then, it was huge. There's this famous story that the developers of Gears of War basically told Microsoft, look, we need more power, and Microsoft listened. This gave the 360 double the usable memory of the PS3. And what did that mean for you, the player? It meant that for years, if a game came out on both consoles, it just looked and ran better on the 360. Simple as that. Okay, next up, the online revolution. Because look, the hardware was impressive, no doubt about it, but that was only half the battle. The real revolution, the thing that truly made the 360 special, it wasn't what was inside the box. It was what connected all of those boxes together all around the world. This is where things get really interesting. I'm talking, of course, about Xbox Live. It's hard to explain to people who weren't there, but before the 360, playing games online on a console was messy. It was like the Wild West. Every game did its own thing. Microsoft just swept all that away and created one simple, unified service that just worked. It wasn't some extra feature, it was the beating heart of the console. It was basically the first real social network for your games. And just look at everything it gave us. Voice chat parties, so you could hang out with your friends even if you were playing different games. The Xbox Live Arcade, which basically started the whole indie game explosion on consoles. Getting free demos for pretty much every big release. And yeah, it introduced us to DLC, downloadable content. For better or for worse, that was a big one. It wasn't just a service, it was a whole digital world. And then, oh man, they introduced this. Achievements, that little pop sound, if you know, you know. It seems so simple now, but it was an absolute stroke of genius. Microsoft created this metagame that stretched across every single game on the console. Suddenly, you weren't just playing the game, you were hunting for gamer score. You were competing with your friends. It gave us all a reason to play more, to explore more, and it was just so addictive. So let's move on to the fall, the red ring of death. The Xbox 360 was flying high. It was on top of the world. It had the head start, it had the power, it had this game-changing online service. Everything was perfect. And then the ticking time bomb that was sitting inside millions of these consoles, well, it started to go off.
And it really was a kind of terror. I'm not exaggerating. It started quietly, a few posts on internet forums. But soon it was a full-blown panic. Everyone started having that same horrible moment. Your game freezes up. You restart the console, and instead of that friendly green light, you get 3 flashing red lights. The red ring of death.
And look, this wasn't just a few unlucky people. An early study put the failure rate of the first wave of consoles at a jaw-dropping 54.2%. That's more than half. More than 1 out of every 2 consoles was basically a dud waiting to happen. It was a complete catastrophe, and it was a direct result of that rush to get the console out a year early. So what was actually happening inside the box? Well, it was a pretty fundamental design flaw. The console ran super hot, and every time you turned it on, the solder connecting the main graphics chip would heat up and expand. Then, when you turned it off, it would cool down and shrink. Imagine bending a paperclip back and forth. Eventually, it just snaps. That's what was happening inside the console. Every single time you played, you were accidentally pushing it one step closer to breaking. And this is what made it so terrifying. When you saw those lights, that was it. Game over. You just lost your console. Completely. There wasn't some easy fix you could do at home. Your machine was now a worthless piece of plastic, a brick. And all your save files, all the games you bought digitally, just gone, trapped on a dead hard drive. It was just a feeling of total sinking dread. All right, which brings us to the redemption, and you can call it a billion-dollar apology. Because Microsoft was at a crossroads. This was a crisis that could have completely destroyed the Xbox brand forever. They'd sold millions of faulty consoles to their most loyal fans. What they did next wasn't just about saving the 360, it was about saving their entire future in gaming. So, they basically had 2 options. Option 1, the cynical business move. Do nothing. Just hide behind the standard 1-year warranty and pretty much tell millions of people, tough luck, go buy another one. Or, option 2, the really, really hard path. Take full responsibility, own the problem, and fix it for everyone, no matter what it costs. They chose to make it right, and the cost was this. Over $1.1 billion. They came out, publicly admitted there was a huge problem, and created this massive warranty program to fix every single console that got the red ring of death for free, for 3 years. Think about that. It wasn't just a repair service. It was a billion-dollar apology. It was a billion-dollar investment to earn back the trust of their players. And that brings us to its legacy. Because that one act, that incredible decision, that's what saved them. By taking that massive financial hit, Microsoft bought back an unbelievable amount of goodwill. Gamers felt like the company had their back. And so the 360 didn't just survive its own disaster, it somehow came out of it even stronger, cementing a legacy that, honestly, we are all still living with today. And if you need proof, just look at the sales figures. Even after the whole Red Ring fiasco, the console was still a beast. I mean, check this out. We're talking nearly 15 million copies of Modern Warfare 3, and both Minecraft and Grand Theft Auto 5 sold over 22 million copies each, just on the 360. The players didn't abandon ship, they stuck around. And really, when you think about modern gaming, so much of its DNA comes directly from the 360. Think about it. Easy online multiplayer? That's standard now. Digital game stores on every console? Yep. Achievements or trophies? They're everywhere. The idea of a huge indie scene on consoles? That started right here. Even things like DLC and motion gaming with the Kinect. All of these things we just expect now were either born on or perfected by the 360. So that brings us right back to where we started. Was the Xbox 360's greatest flaw the very thing that made it a legend? It's a weird thought, right? Its ambition gave us all these incredible innovations, but it also led to that epic failure. But maybe, just maybe, it's the story of how they fixed that failure, the story of a company willing to spend $1 billion to do right by its fans that really turned this beautiful disaster into an icon.